My husband is leaving me because he believes I can control the alignment of the universe and force our firstborn to be a girl. Okay, to start, my husband, 28M, and I, 27F, have been married for 4 years. His parents, specifically his mother, and I have never had any problems, but we've never quite meshed or seen eye to eye. We've always gotten along and been civil. Our future family has been the talk for years. My husband will be the last of his siblings to have children. All of his siblings have at least one. It's been a running joke in the family that if our first happens to be a girl, she won't be accepted because everyone else had a boy for a firstborn. The joke has never sat quite right with me, but I've laughed it off because I don't want to start anything, and maybe I'm just being sensitive. Fast forward to a few months ago when we started trying. It took about 3 months for me to get pregnant. We tracked my cycle and had scheduled intimacy for the best chance. Infertility runs in my family, and my hubby and I agreed on a big family, so I've been worried about starting a family so late in the game. When I did get pregnant, we were overjoyed. We had all the typical couple conversations that come with having a baby, the excitement, names, nursery themes, gender predictions, etc. He talked about wanting a son first so he could be the big strong leader for all his younger siblings and carry on the family name, a very big deal to him instilled by his parents. I expressed my desire to have a little girl I could dress up and match with. It became a playful banter. He'd refer to the baby as a son, and I would call the baby our daughter. About a week before our gender scan, I looked up all the old wives' tales and created a chart for us to fill out together to see who would hypothetically win our little bet. It included the ring test, Chinese horoscope, heartbeat, cravings, etc. The results ended up being about 50-50 in the end, which made us even more excited to find out for certain at our scan. The following week, we went to our appointment and discovered that our baby was a girl. We were both extremely excited. Hubby was disappointed to lose but told me he was overjoyed to be raising a daughter by my side. That night, we called our families to share the news. After calling his family, his mother asked to speak to him privately. I went to bed alone as their conversation carried on for well over an hour. The following morning, I woke up alone. There was a note on my husband's nightstand explaining that someone would be by the house to pick up his belongings later this evening. I immediately tried to call him, only to realize he had blocked my number. I then tried his mom. His mother picked up on the first ring. Before I had the chance to get a word in, she started chewing me out, calling me a manipulative dog. I asked her what I had done, and she told me I'd ruined her son's reputation with my inexcusable behaviors and tendencies. I let her finish her rant before kindly asking her what the frick she was talking about. She told me the divorce papers were already written up, and I wouldn't have the chance to tear apart the family like I had been intending to do all this time. I again, slightly less kindly this time, asked her what the frick she was talking about, to which she told me my husband would be leaving me because our child is a girl. I was gobsmacked. I explained to her that it takes two to tango, and there's no way to truly decide the gender of the baby. If she or her son had a problem with the gender, it was his fault as it's his chromosome that determines the gender. However, she had proof that I'd handpicked to have a girl. As I mentioned before, we used a calendar to determine which days would be best for intimacy. Well, she accused me of forcing him to do it with me on the specific day in which the Chinese horoscope would point towards a girl. She also interrogated me on the position we used to conceive the baby, to which I gave her a piece of my mind, telling her that was none of her business. But she smugly informed me my husband had already told her, and the position we used makes it 60% more likely to have a girl that way. If anyone's currently trying for a girl, specifically doing cowgirl sometime in the middle of February should do the trick every time apparently. She finished off by telling me that my clear preference for my family name was disgusting, and she was glad to finally be rid of me and my manipulative ways before hanging up. I've had no contact with my husband since, and it's been over a month. He's blocked me on everything. I can't help but feel that this hasn't all been his choice, but then again, he's a grown adult, so I can't imagine his mother controlling him like that. I've been staying with my sister since it all went down. She says I can stay as long as I need, but I'm thinking I want to get my own place, maybe even a few states away. What should I do? Should I pack up and move on? Should I continue trying to contact my husband? Update 1. I'm planning to try catching my husband on his way out of work sometime next week. I'd like to hear his side of the story. Also, I should have mentioned originally that I had a gut feeling to record the call with my mother-in-law, so I have all of that on hand if it's needed in the future. I've decided, however, that if there is any saving in our relationship, I'll be changing my last name back to my maiden name, and our daughter will be taking my last name, or at the very least have a hyphenated name. Call me feminist or whatnot, but it will be non-negotiable. I'll also be requiring many boundaries between me and his mother, and she will not be in my child's life until she can find it in her to apologize to me sincerely and change her attitude towards us. Update 2. I was able to catch my husband as he was leaving work one night and got his side of the story out of him, as I had hoped. As suspected, he admitted that he was excited for a baby girl, and after speaking to his mom, she forced him to leave and block me. His mother already had the divorce papers ready to go. I tried to tell him that we could fix this. We could raise our daughter together away from his mother. I know I sound messed in the head and naive for this, but I grew up in a household without a father figure, and I was hopeful my daughter could have a different home life experience than what I had, not to discredit my mother. She's a strong woman, and I hope I can be half of the woman she is for my daughter one day. Anyways, my husband had none of it. He said that he realized how conniving and manipulative and abusive I had been throughout our entire relationship, and he did want to actually go through with the divorce. He said he'd have no problem giving me full custody of the thing that's growing inside of me. That's when I lost all hope. Frick him. I have no problem leaving a man who's so easily brainwashed by his mother like that. I'll raise this baby alone. That's bad enough, but here's the real icing on the cake. I received a phone call from my soon-to-be ex-husband's brother's wife. We've always been quite close, and she informed me over the phone that she overheard a conversation at weekly Sunday dinner that mother-in-law and husband are trying to blindside me in court and take full custody. I was livid, full on seeing red. I called my mother-in-law straight away and demanded to speak to my husband. All he had to say for himself was that he realized he didn't want any of his offspring to be raised by such a manipulative freak, and even though he doesn't actually want her, he's sure he can grow to love her again. I'm not sure what to do at this point. I know I have a good case for myself, but I'm freaking terrified they'll win the battle and take everything from me. It brings tears to my eyes thinking about my daughter growing up somewhere where she isn't loved. Even if custody is split 50-50, I'll have no control over the lies they're guaranteed to feed her. My emotions are going haywire trying to write all this out, so I think I'm going to leave it at that. Update 3. I won the court case with full custody. It was a long and draining road, and I won't go into a ton of detail for privacy and legal reasons, but it was all thanks to Reddit. Someone connected me to a great lawyer, and everything worked out exactly the way it needed to. I owe it all to you guys, thank you so much.